Some of the greatest honours and privileges of my life have been the work I've done in hospice and with the homeless community and with mental health. And thinking about how to distill all of this into a short time, I'd like to share two experiences I had. When I was working in the hospice, I was working with a lady who was near the end of her life and who couldn't speak very much at all, but she was able to type. And there was things she really needed to say to people before she died, things that were burdening her, things that were, I think, holding her up on her transition, to be honest. And I worked with her to write a letter to the person she needed to say these things to. And she died very soon afterwards. And peace and the catharsis I witnessed in her after being able to write that helped her to be able to let go. And there are things also for the person who is dying or who's got a life-limiting illness, that it's not just for those of us left behind, for the person who is journeying through the landscape, approaching death themselves. It is so important for things not to be left unsaid. And when I worked in the soup kitchen, the space for homeless people, which a lot of these people were in and out of prison. A lot of them were people who'd been in Barlinnie, Glasgow's infamous prison for all these tough nuts. Glasgow having a huge amount of violent crime in it and a lot of sectarian violence. And when I was working with some of these men, these tough nut men, and they were sharing with me about their childhoods, about having their mothers beaten up by pimps or dealers, and as young boys learning violence for survival and entering addiction in a way to numb. When I was with these men and they started weeping with me because I was really listening and holding no judgment, but looking at them and seeing them as the infinitely precious children of God that they are, seeing these men weeping, I genuinely believe if these men, and it was mostly men in that particular soup kitchen, if these men had an outlet for their emotions as children and growing up, I genuinely believe the prisons would be half empty. If a lot of these people had been able to share their anger, their emotions, their grief in writing, I truly believe it helps us all. So for people, especially on the margins, my PhD was about liminality, and my vow I took at the vow-taking ceremony just before ordination is very much about holding people who are navigating liminal space. So that's why this course is also about tools for navigating liminal space. So I've felt in the margins my whole life, and I want people, whether they're in a liminal space of being near death or navigating grief, when we write something, we are reshaping our narrative. And for people with illness or disability, or who are feeling lost. Writing can also be a very positive, empowering tool in that it can give anyone agency over their experience, over their circumstances. And even when we can't change the outer circumstances, we can work towards healing, or if not healing, finding a livable place of equilibrium within ourselves.